So it says he provides help and protection for those who are righteous and honest, and protects those who treat others fairly, and guards those who are devoted to him. And this is what I want you to write just somewhere in the margin of your notes today, is that God is your safety plan. God is your safety plan. Just like you would go, if you go into a museum downtown, it's going to have a exit strategy, a safety plan. Well, when it comes to the born-again believer, God, if we stick with him and his word, he becomes our safety plan. So that's the confidence that we have when we treat people fairly, when we are devoted to God. And the way we're devoted to God is to be devoted to his agenda, right? Like we're not going to see God until we get to heaven. But we can honor, be devoted to, support, speak well of, be committed to his gospel, his agenda in the earth. And by doing that, God promises us safety. I love it. I love that. So let's look at Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 through 9. And we're looking in the Good News Translation Bible. And we're talking today about the 5 habits of highly successful people. How many of you want to have success? Let me see your hand. How many of you would love to wake up tomorrow morning and have the best marriage, the best health, the best peace, the best, just the best? Your barns filled with plenty, your accounts overflowing, nobody in trouble, every need met, nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing broken. I want that. Lord, we receive. We receive that. So we're talking about highly successful people, because people that are highly successful are doing something different from people that are not successful. So there is a difference, right? People that are really moving and advancing in life and in the things of God are doing something different from people that are stagnant and are standing still. This is Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 through 9, Good News Translation. We're talking about the 5 habits of highly successful people. And it says, in conclusion, my friends, fill your minds with those things that are good. I believe the successful people, and when I say that, I mean godly success. Successful people are filling their minds with good things. Because whatever you meditate on or think about is what you will be drawn to. If you don't believe me, there are many stories on record. There was a older elderly couple sitting and watching the news about a hurricane that was coming that they were in the path of the hurricane that was coming. And they were found after the hurricane, huddled together. They had died, just their hearts stopped beating. But the hurricane turned and went a different way. Never even touched the mobile home they were living in. And so a lot of times what happens with our success, as a matter of fact, all the time, what's happening with our success is what we're meditating on. Is what we're meditating on. You can even be in a room with 50 other people, and they can all be cursing and mad and upset and talking about how this is not happening, that's not going to work. But if some kind of way you can keep it out of your soul and out of your spirit, you can still be successful no matter what's going on around you. E plus R equals O. Events will happen. Your response will determine your outcome. E plus R equals O. Events will happen. Maybe a person's molested as a child. That's an event. You grow up, maybe you'll need healing, ministry, therapy, whatever it takes, you get to choose your response to it. And that will determine your outcome. You can be just like the woman with the issue of blood. Refuse to be known by your issue. Just refuse to be known by it. So fill your minds with those things which are good and that deserve praise. Things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. Put into practice what you've learned and received from me. So these are the two very key things you want to get from this particular scripture passage. You have to meditate on a certain thing, but you also have to practice a certain thing, right? Because you can sit in your house and meditate on getting on the treadmill, but you actually have to get up and move your body and step on the treadmill and press the on button and set it for 30 minutes and actually go through the process, right? So when it comes to Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 through 9, the Good News Translation, it says, in conclusion, my friends, fill your minds with those things that are good and that deserve praise, things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. Do you see anywhere on this list? Think on things that are depressing, sad, bad, the news. Do you see anything in this list that tells you that it's okay to get to success by thinking on bad things? No. Because if you're going to achieve what God has called you to achieve in this life, you must consider only thoughts that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. Things that deserve praise. And then it says, put into practice what you've learned and received from me, both from my words and from my actions. Now, we learned in our first part of this session that we only listen to people who have wisdom. They don't have to have a college degree, but they have to have wisdom, right? Because if we hang with fools, we become a fool. So a person has to have wisdom to speak into your life. Hear me today. A person has to have wisdom to speak into your life. If a person just got a divorce, they probably shouldn't talk to you about your marriage unless they're telling you what they did wrong. If a person just went bankrupt, they probably shouldn't tell you how to invest unless they're telling you what they did wrong. So when we take advice and listen to people, they have to have wisdom. In addition to that, we have to think on certain things and we have to put into practice certain things. So it says, listen to the words out of my mouth and take note of my actions, and the God who gives us peace will be with you. And you can have so much peace when you know that you've listened to wisdom, you've used knowledge, you've received godly counsel, you made a decision after time in prayer with the Lord, and when you did what you did, you did what you did. And you don't have to feel regret or anxious about it because you went through these things to make sure you were doing it the right way. Now, I thought this was really something that I need to make you guys to make note of. So it says, put into practice what you've learned and received from me, both my words and my actions. So make a note somewhere on your handout there that says faith and action are identical twins. Faith and action are identical twins. Have you ever seen twins and they didn't look anything alike? That's not faith and action. Faith and action are like identical twins. They go so closely together that when you move in faith, you're really moving in action. And when you have action, you actually have faith. All right? So here are the 5 habits of highly effective people. I want you to grab a pen because there are some words I'm gonna want you to underline because they are going to be key for you to remember. So if you need a pen, just lift your hand. A Dream Team member will serve you. Number one, show up. This is how people receive highly successful people. This is how they get that success in their life. Number 1, show up and be present. Live your life accessing, underline accessing, the wisdom of God. Do you know that a lot of the favor I've experienced, a lot of the blessings I've experienced, a lot of the open doors I've experienced came because I just showed up? And they looked around and they said, wow, the person that was supposed to do this isn't here. That happens to me all the time. It happens to me all the time. The person that was supposed to be doing this is not here. Pastor Tonya, you're here. Can you do this? And later they call me. Can we just bless your life with this for that? So success happens when you show up and you're present, when you're at church and you're really at church. Not at home thinking about what you're going to cook. Not upset because the person that you wanted to come with you didn't come. They went somewhere else. Not thinking about, not texting the whole time on what's going to happen after you leave. But really, truly, highly successful people are in the moment. Man, if I could get that revelation to you guys today, that be wherever you are when you're there. Do you know you would sleep better and you wouldn't feel so overwhelmed and you wouldn't feel so much stress if you would just be where you are when you are there? This morning, I stopped at a funeral, and I was just there. When I got in the car, then my mind shifted, and I was just here. When I leave here, I have an event, and I will be just there. Sometimes I even leave my phone in the car to be sure I can just be wherever I am. That's so important. That's so important. And if you don't do that, y'all, please hear me today. If you don't show up and be present, 10 years from now, you will feel like you're just running all over the place. You will feel fragmented in your soul. You will feel like you're being pulled in every direction because you're not any one place at just when you're there. This is the most powerful thing that has led to so much success for me, is that show up and be present. Live your life accessing the wisdom of God. In everything that you do, ask God for his wisdom. And he will give it to you. He will say to you sometimes, don't say a word. He will say to you sometimes, walk away. He will say to you sometimes, don't turn that way, turn left. When God speaks to us, nudges us, gives us a word, tells us don't do a certain thing, we can't talk ourselves out of it, right? We can't say, oh, that's just me. Just listen to that voice, because that's God oftentimes sparing your life, protecting your life, or preserving your life. Sparing your life, protecting your life, or preserving your life. Show up and be present. Live your life accessing the wisdom of God. What a powerful word we received from heaven today. Were you blessed? If so, click below, subscribe, and share.